So I come from a place, a very small town in Lakhimpur Kheri. It's called Gola Gokrannath. And after doing schools from Nainital, then I went to Delhi, then I went to Chandigarh, I chose to come back to my state. I always told my family that I will not settle in Delhi, even though I was working in Delhi in some form. And I told my parents that I want to come back to my state. I want to come back to my hometown. Thinking of that, I came to Lucknow. I thought I'll be closer to my hometown, and no matter what I do, I'll always be contributing to my state, my people. So I started in real estate. When I was 22, I started a project. It was an hit project. People loved that. I made around 48 flats in Lucknow. And I used to work from 10 to 4, 10 in the morning to 4. And I was 22, 23. And then I had a lot of energy in me. I thought, मैं बस 4 बजे तक काम नहीं कर सकता. I have to do something else. I have to invest this extra energy into something else. And at that age, when you're 23, 24, you always feel like opening a cafe for yourself. I was earning well, and I wanted to open a cafe for myself. And at the age of 25, okay, yes, this is me. So I opened a cafe when I was 25 in Lucknow. I thought I'll give my extra time to my cafe and I'll continue doing real estate. But after just 6 months of running a cafe, everything changed. I started liking my cafe, and that like became love, and I fell in love with this business. So I made a choice. I made a choice that I will do what I love. I will not just run for money. And things were going great. I was doing very, very well. And one fine day, my father told me, ki, Ankit, please go to some good mithai shop and get a Diwali gifting boxes for me. I went, and I was entering a mithai shop after, I think, a decade. And when I went and I saw the mithai shop, I kind of realized that in cafe, we're doing so much. In Western gastronomy, we're doing so much. We are telling people to have coffee. India is being a tea drinking country. And we're telling people to have coffee. But when I entered that mithai shop, I realized that everything, almost everything was same as I used to see 10 years back. Something like this. So when you enter a mithai shop, you see there's a chaat, you see there's a jalebi. You enter, and there are 3 kinds of mithai. There's khoya, there's ghee, there's dry fruits, and you kind of choose. You want to buy a half kg or a 1 kg box. What I realized was that at the time where things are moving so fast, concepts changing, the restaurant culture in a decade in this country has changed, but nobody is doing anything with Indian desserts. Still the same. And I saw potential. I thought of elevating this gastronomical experience of Indian desserts. And at that time, I remember after buying sweets, and after the Diwali was over, I went to my father and I told him that I want to open a mithai shop with a coffee shop. He said, why do you want to open a mithai shop? I said, I think there's a lot of opportunity here. सालों से हम लोग वहीं काजू कतली खा रहे हैं, लड्डू खा रहे हैं, and I really respect what we have been doing. It's been in the tradition since ages. But then I want to do something else. I want to do something different. And he was happy. He's like, okay, good. Jalebi खाने को मिलेगी and samosa खाने को मिलेगा, सही है. But then I told him, no, this is not what I want to do. I want to blend the Western cafe culture into my tradition, and I want to blend a Western cafe culture with Indian desserts. A concept which is 100% vegetarian, a concept which is very, very fresh, and I want people to savor Indian desserts for the first time in a very, very different way. So in 2019, I started THF in Lucknow after an year of experimenting things. And THF is a blend where you get excellent specialty coffee and you tend to see desserts with a different eye. You know, आज तक in this industry, in इस industry में nobody tried to mix coffee with desserts, Indian desserts. And there are a lot of people who were telling me कि यार तुम मिठाई की दुकान खोल रहे हो और उसमें जलेबी नहीं है, समोसा नहीं है, खस्ता नहीं है, मिठाई कैसे बेचोगे? And it was actually there are a lot of people telling me that what you're doing is wrong. I was seeing this as an opportunity that nobody's doing it. And until unless the idea is in your mind, दिमाग में रखे आइडिया की कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, इट्स ज़ीरो वैल्यू. आइडिया चलेगा कि नहीं चलेगा वो पता तभी चलेगा when the idea is actually on the धरातल where you've already into that physical space of converting your idea into a physical space. So in 2019, I opened THF. And with an idea of doing something different, not regular mithai shop. We were inviting people in a cafe setup for coffee. We were making excellent coffee. People were staying back for croissant. People were staying back for cheesecakes. And then while they were walking out of the outlet, we were telling them that, look, we have Indian desserts reimagined. And people were shocked. It's like, you guys sell mithai? Does not seems like. And how can a place which is selling coffee can sell mithai? But the idea was that I wanted to innovate a new F&B format. THF is India's only brand in F&B space which says that they sell specialty coffee and additional sweets together. THF is the only player in India which has elevated the gastronomical experience of Indian desserts. Keeping the cultural roots intact, we have actually followed a policy of design forward policy, where the designs of our boxes make it feel giftable. You know, innovation in the design front, innovation in a product front. And that is how, generation who were wanting to try something different this time, they got stick to the brand. There was a guy that came to my mithai shop while I was making it, and he told me that you're opening THF, selling mithai, but mithai takes decades to build reputation. Mithai is always connected to your reputation. When you gift mithai to somebody, you just don't gift a box of mithai, but you gift your reputation and your personality with that box. And Ankit, is going to take a lot of years for you to actually crack that. But I think that, we are proving all those people wrong with the courage that we showed by expanding and opening THF. So this is what we actually did in the product front. So this is a lotus biscoff burfi that we make. A product which connects with the young people, youth people, and somebody who really want to have that lotus biscoff flavor in mithai. They go mad when they eat THF mithai. And this is how we gift mithai. This is a truly different way. Nobody has ever imagined that the mithai can be gifted like this. There is one more interesting, I think the world is moving, the India is moving towards coffee now. And this is what I hear at a lot of, conferences, that in the next 10 years, India is going to see a revolution in coffee. Now, I'll give you a little brief of coffee. Coffee is not a, this is what is a coffee is. It is a fruit. It is not a grain. Coffee is a seed. And there are different ways where the coffee is being processed. Now THF has identified a very different way to process its own coffee. We travel to different farms. We make sure that the process of THF coffee is different. So we're bringing innovation in every front of the brand. Because no matter what you like, you will never be able to understand your customers, your guests, until unless everything is actually being researched on. So we really researched on the kind of coffees that we have to make for our people. You know, there's one thing that that everybody will be shocked to know. But the most important part in F&B, in making food, and especially in making coffee, is not the raw materials sometimes. It is not the coffee that is important in making coffee. It is the water that is the most important ingredient in our industry, and which is being ignored at almost all the places. You know, a coffee that you drink is 90% water. And if the water TDS is not right, you will never be able to get that same flavor out of coffee, no matter how much experimentation you've done in the past. So as a brand, you know, when we are passionate about something, we not just claim that we are passionate, but we actually work really hard in all these segments of things that we sell. So if the coffee is perfect, which means your water TDS has to be perfect. And we have done at least more than 500 trials of the perfect water TDS to be there in our coffee, every cafe, every time you drink THF coffee. And that is why it is being consistent since day one. Why? And that is why, in a place like Delhi, THF is selling more than 1,000 cups every day. You know, this is an industry which is very competitive. But if you add your flavor of innovation in your brand, that changes the whole game. We have 15 cafes around 7 cities. We started with 25 people, now we have 1,000 people working in the organization. And everybody is working really hard to make something great out of Uttar Pradesh. THF is the first brand from Uttar Pradesh who has been able to raise a capital of more than 100 crores in 4 years of its inspection. And it is something which is, we have done it very basic concept. Mithai shop and a coffee shop is what we see every corner. But out of very basic, we innovated something very different. And now THF is not just the first F&B place to raise capital. THF is also UP's fastest growing F&B brand. And and these are the kind of outlets that we are now building. It's a cafe combined with a mithai shop. And nobody could have imagined that somebody will be able to make a blue mithai shop. No. People could not imagine. My father could not imagine. Because I think, when I was going through this TEDx format that we have to talk about choice, courage, and community, I thought I'll share my story of THF, and it is not a story of growth. It is a story of growing, because we're growing every day. So I made a choice, right when I was very, very comfortable in real estate. I was earning good money. I chose to grind, because I wanted to do something which I really, really like. So you guys here all are going to be, in different fields after few years. And I think if you really, really want to make something big, you cannot think from here, you have to think from here. You cannot work from here, you have to work from here. Only then you will be able to give that extra hours to your work. Only then you will be able to actually make a difference in whatever field you enter. This is the store that we made in Delhi. And this is India's, and this is, yes, Varanasi. So I'll tell you a little story of how I opened Varanasi. I was keep traveling to Varanasi. I think I came 10 times before finalizing THF Varanasi Jalghar. Every time I used to come, यहाँ के जो लोग थे मुझे दिखाते थे some commercial building. I told them, yaar, this is not going with Banaras. I just don't want to open a restaurant or a cafe or a mithai shop and then do sales. Sales is not my target. I have, this all North India to open restaurants. I can go and open anywhere. I will only open when I really, really think that I can, connect with the community of Banaras. And when I was finalizing the site, it was an old 150-year-old property. It was, my projects team called me and they said, sir, you're investing way too much in this project. Because the revenue is going to be more over same. The seats are going to be the same. But I said, it is not about money all the time. It is about to a city that we are going to. People are coming to Banaras. They are coming to the oldest city of the world. And if they experience that this is a cafe made out of a 150-year-old well, we really, really add value to Banaras. We are not just going to come, from Lucknow and build a cafe and going to do sales and, go away. And that is what the idea is all about. Generating employment in Banaras. All over people, we are very strict of hiring at least 80% of the people from that city, so that we don't hire from one place and then send it across to different cities. So you have to make a choice from your heart, and you have to have a courage. You cannot be scared. क्या होगा, हार जाएंगे? कुछ नहीं होता. जीतने पे भी कुछ नहीं होता, तो हारने पे भी कुछ नहीं होगा. So you don't have to be scared. There are going to be a lot of people, and that is what I'm saying. If you really think that this idea has that power to, and you will make money out of this idea, don't choose that idea. If you really think that this is what you really want to do, this is what I really like, even though I will not be able to earn a lot of money, but still I will do that, go for that idea. My father used to tell me, yaar Ankit, you left a project of 100 crores and you're making a restaurant. Why? तुम कॉफी बेच के कभी लाइफ में 100 crore का ब्रांड नहीं बना पाओगे. I did that in 2 years. And not because I wanted to create that. It is because I really wanted to get into F&B. I really thought that I cracked it. There is nobody doing anything with specialty coffee. There is nobody has created a cafe ever which is a vegetarian cafe. There is nobody who is doing something with Indian gifting, keeping your cultural roots intact. And this is what we did. A very basic, simple idea of opening a coffee shop. And now, what makes me proud is that I started with only 28 team members. My brand There are 1,080 people right now working for the brand. And the kind of employment that we have generated through THF is what makes me proud today. We are going to open 10 more stores in coming 10 months. Again, 1,000 more people are going to be added into the team. That is what gives me fire. That is what makes me happy. That at least, rather than just earning money, at least as a brand, as somebody from Gola Gokrannath, Lakhimpur Kheri, who had very few opportunities, who could have gone to Delhi and settled in Delhi, chose to came back to its own state and give back to the society. And for me, that is the story of growing, is what encourages me. Thank you so much for calling me here, and I'll end with this.